Seattle as the Rays road trip continues. First order of business, we salute and congratulate the Lightning on a 4-3 victory over the Blackhawks. That game just finished. Meanwhile, tonight, the Rays, having won 4 in a row and a dramatic win last night, tonight will face one of the premier right-handers in all of baseball. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Rays face King Felix tonight.
And King Felix has been very hard on the Rays over the years. You look at his career numbers, and they are off the charts stellar. 14 starts, a 6-2 record, an ERA of 1.94. Of course, mixed into those numbers is a perfect game. He's had 3 complete games, and in 10 of the 14 starts, he's given up 1 or 0 earned runs, including 4 of the last 5. So he has been devastating, and he gets it done by a good, boring fastball. He's got the curveball slider, but it's that power changeup that he'll throw 89, 90 miles an hour that really has given the Rays fits.
And here is the matchup. Alex Colimay, who pitched against the Mariners at Tropicana Field on the 26th of May to a no-decision, pitching into the 6th inning of that one. And Felix Hernandez, well, on the 27th of May, he was, in a word, excellent. He was Felix Hernandez. No runs, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, and a walk in that game against the Rays. It is another edition of Late Night with the Rays, and tonight, in installment after installment, we will learn more of the life and times of David Dejesus, courtesy of Todd Callis. All of that coming up from Seattle.
Seattle, Washington, to be exact. Another edition of Late Night with the Rays from Safeco Field in Seattle. You know, LeBron James in the NBA does that little thing with the pregame chalk toss that he gets himself psyched up for the game. Some guys just like the wet hair look. David Dejesus is one of those guys, and here is how he prepares for a game with what he likes, getting his show hair ready.
Like right before the game, when I do my little, LeBron does his powder thing, I do my hair flip.
Right.
that's when it's at its best.
So what do you just get a full cup of water?
Yeah, I take a couple cups. Well, one can't do it,
Okay.
so I have to do 2 or 3 now because I want to make sure the back's wet as well. Do you want me to go do it? And I'll give it one, just kind of let it work it. The one's like just, the working phase. And the second cup is just to try and get all the ends underneath and down and around. And then
This is a pretty serious science.
And then
One more.
So I go one more just to kind of get my face to wake up a little bit before the game and just finish it. And then you just flip it like that. And then that's the show here.
That is the show here. We'll hear more from Dejesus throughout the night about what shooter means when he says it on the bench, why he had a little ice cream sandwich during a game against the Yankees, his favorite city for food, and a special shipment from Seattle heading back to St. Pete. All that coming up, and the first pitch with Felix Hernandez on the mound in 3 minutes.
Felix Hernandez on the mound tonight for the Seattle Mariners. The Rays have taken the first 2 games of this series by scores of 2-1 and 1-0. We'll take a look at the Rays lineup tonight, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. You're looking at Kevin Kiermaier. He's going to lead it off. Then the DH is Joey Butler, followed by David DeJesus. Logan Forsythe hits cleanup. Steven Souza Jr. in right as Drupal Cabrera at short. Jake Elmore at third. At first base tonight, Nick Franklin. And Rene Rivera will do the catching. He'll bat ninth. And as you can see, no Evan Longoria. He's got a little wrist situation.
And more good news here on Felix Hernandez. If the numbers that we showed you in the open weren't intimidating enough, 9 starts against the Rays here at Safeco Field, 5-0 with a 1.61 earned run average.
Included among those outings was the perfect game in 2012. First pitch of this game swung on and fouled out of play. First pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny. It's 82 degrees here in Seattle as we start this one, a warm evening. And 2.
And Dwayne, going back to what you just mentioned, tough enough to go up against a Felix Hernandez.
even at full strength, and that's why you'd love to have Evan Longoria out there. He's not. Obviously, it makes it a little more difficult.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Evan tweaked his left wrist. May or may not be available tomorrow. They don't think that it's anything that will be prolonged in nature. Near miss right there. It's 2-2.
And I think, too, with the Evan Longoria, I would suspect that with it being a quick turnaround day game, you probably would give him tomorrow, too, with the off day on Monday. Give that 3 full days to heal. We'll see.
A foul ball off the mid of Zunino. So Kiermaier will get another life up here at the plate with the count at 2-2. Ball 3. That one a little wide, stayed out there. John Tumpain is calling the balls and strikes, a young umpire out of Chicago. And there is ball 4 on a pitch up. We saw a couple pitches from Hernandez to Kiermaier. They're close, but balls off the plate, and Tumpain, to this point in his young career behind the plate, is not necessarily going to consistently give pitchers balls on the corner or even off the corner. So we'll see how that works out tonight.
Yeah, because I want the pitch that's on the corner. I mean, I'm not asking too much there. I'm just asking you to do your job.
Here's Butler.
A tough way to pitch.
Pitch inside, 1 ball, no strikes. But there are umpires who, for whatever reason, some guys have bigger strike zones and maybe a little off and out of the zone, and other guys tighten that strike zone up. So far, he tends to be a little tighter with the zone.
And that's where you want a guy out on the mound that has big-time stuff, that can throw the ball over the plate and get out.
There goes Kiermaier. Pitch is a strike. The throw not in time. Kiermaier in with a stolen base, his 3rd of the year. And this is what the Rays are going to have to do with a guy like Hernandez on the mound. Base runner, force the issue.
Yeah, only 2 stolen base attempts this year off of Felix Hernandez, both successful. But, yeah, that's your only shot. You're not going to sit back and slug like the Yankees were able to do against him. You're going to have to absolutely push it a little.
Yeah, and that was a strange outing for Felix Hernandez. The last time out, Monday, he gave up 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings against the Yankees when he lost command. Gave up a number of walks.
Yeah, 5 walks, the 7 earned runs.
And cutting the miss. Butler is out on strikes.
Let's take a quick look at that Seattle defense and see how it's going to line up tonight in the outfield left to right. We're going to have Seth Smith, Austin Jackson, and Nelson Cruz across the infield 3rd to 1st. Kyle Seager, Willie Bloomquist, Robinson Cano, and Logan Morrison with Mike Zunino behind the plate.
Here's David Dejesus with good career numbers against Felix Hernandez. He's 13 of 39 with 4 doubles and a home run in his career off Hernandez, and he's up here with Kiermaier in scoring position. Another reason you wanted to be aggressive and get Kiermaier to second on the steal as quickly as you could. So the Rays with an opportunity in the 1st. The pitch is a strike.
Yeah, I went back, Dwayne, to those numbers that we were just talking about and looked and say, when was the last time Hernandez gave up that many earned runs and had that many walks? And it was back in 2013 in separate outings against the same team, the Texas Rangers, 11 days apart. Very odd. And they owned him that year, which is also, again, very odd.
1-1 now.
He gave up 8 earned runs against the Rangers. That was August 28th of 13. Had 5 walks against that same Ranger team on August the 17th, 11 days prior. Lost against that team 4 times that year in 5 starts.
There goes the runner trying to steal third. He is out at third base. Kiermaier trying to steal third. And the Rays may want to take a look at that. Kevin Cash already a step out of the dugout.
Well, there he goes. Zunino out quickly with the throw. And let's see. It's tough to tell there. He did not come off the bag, so it wouldn't be there. It'd be right here. Left hand is in. Wow. That tag is on the back of the elbow. That's close and worth a shot.
Yes, it is worth a shot. Of course, the only issue, and we've talked about this before, is that clear and convincing clause. You could have easily called them safe, and then the Mariners would have been in the same situation the Rays are in right now.
That's why you hope that it's not the call on the field when it's so bang like that. Typically that wins out. I don't know on this one. That one really close and absolutely worth a shot here, because you get him to third, less than 2 outs with Dejesus at the plate. You got a chance here to take an early lead. But it was the left hand to the bag. The tag was on the tricep of the left arm.
So the Rays challenge the out call at third. It was Adrian Johnson, who worked the plate last night, who made the call at third. And he's going to be safe. And the Rays win one down there on that call. Well, it appeared that he was safe, and you were looking for that shot that was clear enough, clear and convincing. And so the out call is overturned, and the Rays have a man at third base. Here it is.
The tag coming down long. That hand, boy, I'll tell you, that is so close. That hand gets in there.
Infield in now. And a wave and a miss. He had him out in front.
Well, it's the power changeup of Felix Hernandez where he will get a vast majority of his strikeouts.
Yeah, 90 miles per hour on his changeup.
Yeah, and we've seen the fastball already, like in that 93, 94 range, but it's the finish. A little bit of change in velocity, but the down and away finish to that pitch.
Upstairs, and a full count.
Well, look for it right here. Full count. He just raised the eye level of David Dejesus. No chase, but you got him set up for that split, or that changeup. Acts like a split.
3-2 pitch. And that is ball 4. So the Rays have a couple base runners. You know, the interesting thing that was really fascinating about his outing against the Yankees, Felix Hernandez went through the first 3 innings on just 21 pitches, 18 of which were strikes. He went out the next inning and just lost his command.
That was when it rained here.
That's right.
And they couldn't get the roof closed. The mound got really off, was wet. And you're right, he was not the same pitcher.
Logan Forsythe, and he takes a strike. Yeah, Hernandez didn't say anything about it, but they did have a little issue with not getting the roof covering the field quickly enough when it started to rain on the bottom of the third, and then he went out in the fourth and had some control issues. Line drive, and it's going to be caught by the shortstop, Bloomquist. Well, Forsythe made a bid and just could not get that one over the head of the shortstop.
But what do you got to do? You know, Kiermaier works a nice at bat. He steals 2 bags. David Dejesus works a walk. Forsythe hits a ball right on the line, and you're still looking to get somebody in. Right there.
Well, the Rays have done everything they can do so far. Getting a couple of walks, being aggressive, successful steal of second, successful steal of third. Here's Steven Souza Jr. Strike 1.
There was that changeup. We've seen that fastball up to 94. That changeup there was 89. Dip at the end. We've seen some breaking balls. He's bringing everything out here, which is, not surprising. He faced this team just 2 starts ago.
Cut and a miss. 1-2.
And it's one thing when a pitcher's got good stuff and he's got 2 or 3 pitches that give you pause or give you worry. He's got 4 different offerings you got to account for.
So ball and 2 strikes. Now 2-2. It's 23 pitches in this inning.
With some good pitch recognition here in this first inning, and maybe some of that has to do with the fact, like we just talked about, they saw him 10-11 days ago.
And there's strike 3. He takes it and is out on strikes. Rays lead 2. No score.
Check that.
Tonight's lineup for the Mariners, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Austin Jackson will lead off, the center fielder. Then Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz. Kyle Seager is cleanup. Mark Trumbo is the DH, hitting in front of the left fielder Seth Smith. Logan Morrison, the first baseman, 7th. Willie Bloomquist, 8th. And Mike Zunino, the catcher, hits 9th.
Well, taking the mound here tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Alex Colimay, and what he is looking for is some consistency. It's been a mixed bag for Alex this year. He's got 4 starts where he's given up 2 earned or fewer. Also has had 2 starts where he's given up 5 earned or more. So trying to get that consistency and get back to the Alex Colimay that we've seen many times.
His first pitch, and that's a ball, a fastball. 6'2" right-hander, 26 years old. Colimay out of the Dominican Republic. And a strike is called on Jackson. Jackson just recently off the disabled list. He had a right ankle sprain. Sends a fly ball into center. Kevin Kiermaier in there for it and makes the catch. 1 away.
Let's take a look at the Rays defense and see how it's going to line up. In the outfield, left to right, we have Dejesus, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Elmore, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Nick Franklin, with Rene Rivera behind the plate. Different look on that infield.
Yeah, Franklin at first base. The Rays, Tom Foley spent some extra time working with him down in Anaheim before the games there around first base. Pitch to Cano, a strike at the knees.
Well, there's a lot that you're responsible for over there at first base. You know, chances to be a cutoff man when they do run the shift. You got to be aware of where Logan Forsythe is, covering the bag. You got to make plays over at the bag, have good feet, and soft hands.
Tapper, and the count is 0-2 on Cano. It was interesting to watch Foley with him. Not only is Franklin being acquainted with a new position over there, but some of the drills about coming up with throws from different angles. Foley took a fungo bat, stood near second base, and hit fungos on 1 and 2 hops to him, and he would pick them while he was on the bag at first. Down to third, Elmore gathers and throws.
Well, instead of having somebody stand out there and just keep throwing the ball into the dirt, you go out there and hit him hard ground balls.
Yeah,
you get all sorts of different hops, 2 hop, like you said, 2, 1, different ways to, you've got to have your, like I said, starts with your feet. As most sports do, the right footwork, but then you've got to be able to come up with those.
Yeah, and then the other part of it, where you should be. If the ball's hit the right field, here's a runner at first, runners at second, where you're going to be when the balls are hit to different parts of the field. Nelson Cruz looks at a pitch a little wide, a fastball, and that one in the mid-90s. 1-0.
Yeah, the velocity here from Colimay has been good. You hope that the command follows, because when he's able to command that pitch both sides of the plate, that's when you see him really able to dominate.
2 balls, no strikes.
Where he has gotten into trouble, he's cut his walk rate in half this year. Not walking anybody, but a lot of times the strikes that he has been throwing, they have not been high quality strikes. Pitches out over the plate.
Yeah, that's when you start to be concerned about command of fastball location. You throw strikes, but if you want to go one side of the plate and you wind up on the other side, or you wind up in the middle of the plate, not too good.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, strikes, not quality. Regular strikes get hit hard.
3-1 the count. And Rivera needing some assistance. Needs a new mitt. There's a little malfunction with that prior mitt. So there's the backup.
It's important to have a backup.
Cut the miss at 97. So he's got the high octane stuff going already.
Well, don't think that Alex Colimay isn't fully aware of who he's facing off against. And they're not going to meet up in the batter's box on the pitcher's mound. But when you face a guy like Felix Hernandez, you're out there to prove something. And we've seen that firm fastball here tonight.
Line drive, and there's a base hit. Fastball back into center, a 2-out single.
Well, Nelson Cruz just continues to hit for this Mariners team. One of the few guys who's been consistent.
Well, the Mariners are last in runs scored, but you look at Cruz, he's 4th in the league in hitting, leads the league in home runs. He's tied for 3rd in runs batted in. tops in slugging, in the top 10 in on base percentage. You see the Toyota trend there and where the Mariners are, averaging 3.5 runs a game, which is last in the American League.
I just don't know how you add his production to a lineup and have it get significantly worse, as those numbers showed.
Kyle Seager looks at a strike. The Mariners, with the addition of Cruz, had high hopes they could get off to a quick start. They have not been able to do that. We mentioned last night how close they came to the postseason last year with 87 regular season wins, but they haven't been a playoff team since 2001.
Yeah, they were one game behind the A's, who did go to the playoffs. And that's why they figured you add Nelson Cruz, you tweak some things here and there, and this is the year.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Team went out on a road trip, ended it in style with a sweep of the Rays, and have come here, have had a horrible homestand. They've lost 7 straight games, and in those 7 games, they've scored a grand total of 13 runs. Less than 2 a game, not going to win you very many games. And that's exactly what's happened with them. And that 7-game losing streak has put them 7 games under 500.
One and two the count on Seager. He's had a hit in each of the last 2 games. And strike 3 called. That takes care of Seattle in the first. We go to the second. No score. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan. We make it happen. Late night for the Rays from Seattle. Here's Safeco Field.
The best part about that was I took that thing right off and dunked it.
Trying to recall that moment.
In between innings, I'll tell you when that happened.
Here's Cabrera. Asdrubal Cabrera taking ball 1. Cabrera is hitting .205. A couple of home runs on the year. And he's up in the count, 2-0. Rays did all they could in the first, drawing a couple of walks. Forsythe hit a hot shot line drive caught by Bloomquist. They were just inches away from getting a run on that line drive. And now it's 3-0 to Cabrera. The other thing, Felix Hernandez made 24 pitches in the first, and the Rays got no runs, but boy, as tough as he is, you figure you should get something for that, because that's almost twice as many pitches as he's likely to throw in an inning.
Yeah, we were talking in between innings. He comes into this ball game right here averaging 14.5 pitches per inning. And he's on pace. If he keeps that up, that will be 4 of the last 6 years that he would have averaged under 15 pitches an inning. With his strikeout numbers and his innings pitched and his dominance, to do it like that is just, I guess it just adds to the legend.
Well, take last year, 248 strikeouts, 46 walks. All of that in 236 innings.
He's dominant and yet efficient. Those kind of pitchers, extremely rare. And at least here tonight, the Rays are pushing him somewhat.
Cabrera out on strikes. That's strikeout number 3 already. Our T-Mobile game changer, and Felix Hernandez is that. And here's why. See his career 1-loss record, but 5-time All-Star with a couple ERA titles and the Cy Young Award in 2010. Strike to Jake Elmore.
He's got 7 straight seasons of 200-plus innings, 6 straight seasons of 200-plus strikeouts. Actually, the lowest in that span is 216.
He breaks that one in there. That's a strike, 0-2.
And he's got those types of pitches where you can guess right and be waiting for that pitch, but if he executes it, you still don't have a chance.
Inside. It's now 1-2. Well, the Rays have not scored a run off him in 17-plus innings. They have a run in only 1 of the last 39 innings he's pitched against them. Little tapper headed to the middle and through into center field. Elmore has a base hit.
And that was an impressive job right there by Jake Elmore. Down in the count, having to face the assortment of pitches that he can put you away with, and a nice job of staying back enough right there and then throw the hands late. Right back up the middle. Well done by Mr. Elmore. You see that little hesitation. You keep your hands back, you give yourself a chance.
Well, here's Dick Franklin, the former Seattle Mariner. One ball, no strikes. It out of play the other way. Franklin has played behind Hernandez. Now he faces him. Elmore is on the move. Franklin makes contact and fouls it. So the Rays continue to start runners and being aggressive whenever they do get anybody on base.
Yeah, they've tipped their hand. If you're on and you're capable And maybe if you're not capable, we're going to put you in motion.
Close for ball 2. Fastball away. 2-2. Line drive grabbed by Cano and over to first. They get the double play. Well, a hard line drive off the batter, Franklin. Cano reaching up to grab it and then turns it into a double play. And here it is. No runs, a hit, nobody left. No score.
The Rays, as we get to know David Dejesus, a very healthy eater. When we asked him where his favorite city was for food, he picked the city we're in now.
This place has been great. We just bought a 20-pound salmon at the Fisherman's Pier, Copper River. So we get getting it shipped back to the Trop on Tuesday. Me, Chris, and Brandon.
You all got
together. Yeah, it was like a 20-pounder, 21-pounder. So they cut it up for us, and they'll ship it out on Monday to get there to Tuesday at the Trop.
That's one of the best pieces of fish you can ever get, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what the bears love. You know, they're grabbing that thing. So the bear can eat that, and he's pretty strong, so we should eat it.
Good enough for the Bears, guys. Good enough for David Dejesus. He and Brandon Geyer and Chris Archer are splitting up that 20-pound salmon. They're going to cut it into 16 one-pound fillets. It'll be arriving in St. Pete on Tuesday. And it's such a popular fish. It's a short run. It's in season right now that another Rays player actually traded his bat for a small cooler of Copper River salmon before the game. Guys, back to you.
Well, I hope he'd already used up all the hits in that bat. High fly ball. Short right, and Sousa's there to make the catch. Mark Trumbo, the DH, is retired. Yeah, if there are any hits in those bats, as scarce as hits have been not only with the Rays but the Mariners and all around baseball, hitters are looking for bats with hits in them these days.
It's got to be the blem. It's like when they send you the 2 or 3 different gloves, and maybe one of the 3 could potentially be a gamer down the road. The other 2 you sign and hand out to people.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with the bats.
Here's Seth Smith.
Speaking of getting strong, so I roll out this morning down to the local gym here that I have picked out in Seattle. Great place, really close to the hotel. And guess who's in there getting a little swell on, tandem workout before the ball game.
Well, one of them would be our featured guy tonight on Late Night with the Rays.
Listen, eating the good salmon, strong like the bear, him and Brandon Geyer down there getting a workout in. So tried to jump in with him. Didn't want any part of that, so I moved on to my own deal. But
couldn't get any salmon out of him, huh?
yeah, or a bat.
Yeah. So it's 3-0 now to Smith. Alex Colimay making his 8th start for the Rays. Threw the ball well in the first, gave up a hit to Cruz, then struck out Seager. Now behind Smith. And he loses him. So there's a walk. 1 on, 1 out. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts. Brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Rays with a 4-game winning streak, and during that stretch, starters at 2.38 and the bullpen at 0.63, and that's been a busy bullpen.
It's really been amazing what they've been able to do, and it's not like the Rays have been scoring a ton of runs, so they've needed to pitch that well to continue to win. You think about the games that they've won here, 2-1, 1-0.
Logan Morrison, the pitch is down, and visit on the mound, Rene Rivera out there. And Rivera, we have come to observe, is like a pitching coach in the game behind the plate.
And he has to be. You know, here's the pecking order of that, you know, the way that it moves. First of all, the pitcher, you want him to be his own pitching coach. If he is a little bit out of whack, missing some pitches, now it's going to fall to the catcher because he's right out there. A guy like Rivera is going to be proactive. And then, you know, a couple more, and then you'll see Jim Hickey come out. But you're right, Rene Rivera jumping right out there to try to get Colimay back on track.
Line drive and a base hit into right. Sousa with the pickup. Smith advances to second.
This is an example, Dwayne, of what we were talking about earlier. You know, you walk a guy, you miss with 4 straight, and all of a sudden you miss again to Logan Morrison. Now you're going to come with a strike, but it's not a quality strike. He's shooting for out over the plate, and those are the balls that get hit hard.
And so Morrison continues his hitting streak, extending it to 13. And Willie Bloomquist, the veteran infielder and really a man about the diamond anywhere. He can play in the outfield and on the infield. Starting at shortstop tonight. That's a strike. Field with 1 extra base hit and 3 runs batted in. Tap to third. Elmore to second, 1, and that's the only one they get. Smith goes to third, and Morrison is out. Forsythe came across the bag looking for somewhere, but he had no play. So they get 1 out.
Slow chopper here to Elmore, having to move in. Yeah, it just takes too much time. And so you get that lead man at second. At least the lead man as far as what they were going for. And now just 1 runner in scoring position, but with 2 outs, you take care of the hitter and no worries.
The hitter's going to be the young catcher, Mike Zunino. He starts the night hitting 172. He has some power, 7 home runs. He had 22 home runs last year for this club. So he has some power, but can be a streaky sort of hitter.
Well, and what gets him on the bad side of that is when he expands the zone and makes it almost limitless. And we saw that last night against Andrew Bellotti, swinging at pitches well off the plate.
1-1. And on the corners at first and third, 2 gone. A foul ball. Just a little bit of that one. 1-2. Colimay, one good pitch from getting out of this spot and sending us into the third. Look, and now Rivera is going to make the trek to the hill. Now the Rays started the day a half game out in the East. The Yankees beat the Angels earlier, 8-2. So the Rays right now are 1 full game behind New York in the East. Toronto won, Baltimore lost, and Boston won. Let's a look at the standings right now. Boston and Baltimore each 5.5 back, Toronto 4.5, and the Rays 1 out. A 1-2 count to Zunino. Chop for Cabrera, his throw to first in time. 2 men left by Seattle. They do not score. We go to the third. Scoreless as we go to the third, and tonight's great moment in history presented by Geico, and that was on August 15th, 2012, when Felix Hernandez tossed the 23rd perfect game in MLB history, retiring all 27 Rays hitters and striking out 12, victimizing the Rays on his perfect game on this date in 2012.
And I remember that game, and I know you do too, as a game where you could never envision a perfect game or guess a perfect game's coming, but you knew that the Rays were in trouble offensively early in that game.
Yep, we sure did.
He was that good.
1-0, and you saw John Jaso in the celebratory aftermath of the perfect game.
It kind of pops up everywhere.
Yep.
You know, when you least expect it, there's Jaso.
Yeah.
He's like the Seidler in Seinfeld.
We're looking forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah.
Soon, we hope. He would be a significant addition to this lineup.
How disappointed. Here's a chance for him to come back to the Rays, where he got everything started.
He was happy to come back here.
Excited.
Thrilled to be back.
First inning.
Yeah.
Game 1. Come on.
Well, we should have known something was up then, I guess. The Rays starting the year with 4 starting pitchers on the DL. Last year's closer on the DL. And in the very first inning of the new season, Dejesus is injured. Rivera reaching for that pitch, strikes out. 4 strikeouts for Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, the guy that you brought back to be your DH for the most part and hit leadoff because he's a good on-base guy. And there that goes.
The Rays have had to go back to the drawing board several times in the first third plus of the season.
Well, and as far as the pitching staff goes, you cannot take any more hits. You cannot take any more hits, and that's why you hope that this Jake Odorizzi news that hopefully we'll find out Monday, Tuesday when we get back into town is not going to be that bad, not that significant. Oblique always scares you, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, but maybe it can be limited. He said he felt a little bit better today, still sore, but that's to be expected.
Tap to the right side and a race to the bag. Hernandez got over there quickly enough to beat Kiermaier, and that's the second out. Well, Odorizzi leaving last night's game after 4 1/3 with what they had described at the time as a left oblique tightness. And you're right, you hope. I mean, it would appear the Rays are going to lose him for a certain amount of time. Nothing definitive yet, but what you're hoping is that it would be just a very short time.
Yeah, because if you do lose him for a few turns through the rotation, what are you going to do? Because here's the thing. The way that this rotation has been set up, you've got Erasmo Ramirez, Nathan Carnes, Alex Colimay have been guys that are averaging right around 5 innings a start, in that range. You've got Chris Archer, Jake Odorizzi are your guys that give your bullpen kind of a night off or shorten the workload because they've been able to get deeper into the game. If you lose one of the horses, not only do you have to find another starter, but now you've got 4 of the 5 guys are going to be those 5-inning type pitchers. That's a heavy, heavy workload on that pen.
Joey Butler fouls it 0-2. It's amazing when you break it down. You're only talking about maybe 2 innings a start, but those are 2 big innings when you start to factor in the ripple effect of the bullpen and the entire pitching staff.
We're on a 10-day road trip, okay? We're on a 10-day road trip, and with 2 of your horses.
There's a hot shot, one hopper. Bloomquist up with it. Throw to first, and it's dug out by Morrison. Good play on both ends to get the hustling Butler. He was busting it, going down that line, trying to beat it out. And some good defensive work by Seattle. No score through 2.5. Up for guardian ad litem, and Christian, 14-year-old Christian, was placed with his grandmother when his mother could no longer care for him. And thanks to the work of guardian ad litem and Sally Startzel, Christian and his mother were reunited. Rays first baseman James Loney and wife Nadia proudly donated funds to support guardian ad litem. How do you raise up? Austin Jackson takes a strike. Line shot up the left side, fared into the corner. Jackson can run. He's going to get a double to start the inning. Two-base hit number 6 for Austin Jackson.
Well, Austin Jackson's been swinging the bat better as of late. As you talked about him coming off the disabled list, and he gets a pitch here out over the plate. That was kind of flat. Not a lot of late movement to it. Austin Jackson promptly deposits it down into the corner, and Seattle's off and running here in the third.
Well, they left 2 men on base in the second inning, and now it's Robinson Cano with a man at second and nobody out to start the third. They have Cano, Cruz, and Seager. Arguably, their 3 top hitters due up now. And the pitch is a strike to Cano.
Well, the one thing that we've seen from Cano in this series, and part of his struggles this year, have been the bat has slowed down a little bit. And right now he's having to cheat to try to get to anything, and that has led to a lot of rollover types of situations. That's why you see these Rays hitters or pitchers staying away from him, because if he has to get it started early, wants to get it started early, that's where you get those ground balls to the right side. It's like he doesn't quite trust his hands or his bat speed to shoot those balls into left field yet.
Ground ball towards short, over to backhand it, and the throw to first by Cabrera. And Cano is the first out, and Jackson must remain at second base.
Yeah, that's where you wanted him to roll the ball over to the right side if you're the Seattle Mariners. At least you move the runner up, but nice job. Alex Colimay is able to get that out and keep Jackson right at second base.
Now it's Nelson Cruz, who went to 3-2 and lined a single into center in the first inning. Cruz, the 4th leading hitter in the American League in average, and tops in home runs. Foul out of play. I mentioned the Yankees beat the Angels 8-2 earlier. Warren got the win. Richards the loss. He was knocked out in the first inning. Trout homered for the Angels, his 15th. McCann hit one for the Yankees. 1 strike to count to Cruz. 1-1. Colimay gave up a base hit with 2 outs in the first. Found a couple men on base in the second inning, and now a man at second in the third with 1 out. Already finding a need to make some good pitches in key situations early.
And that's where, you know, a part of his game where he's struggled a little bit. And Rene Rivera once again going out to talk to Alex Colimay. He's really struggled with those runners in scoring position. But guess what? So have the Seattle Mariners, one of the worst in all of baseball.
Yeah, they're last in the league, hitting with men in scoring position.
Something's got to give.
Well, here's a guy who's hit the ball out more than anybody in the American League, one more than Mark Teixeira. Two balls and a strike. Rivera trying to stay right with Colimay, pitch by pitch. And right now in a very tough part of the Seattle lineup. Broken bat and a ground ball to short. Cabrera's throw to first in time, and over to third goes Jackson. Well, the bat split in half. The barrel end that split off is down by Elmore, who picks it up on the infield grass.
Well, and that move up not as significant because you can retire the hitter, Kyle Seager, not easy, but get out of this inning. But it does increase the chances and the ways that Seattle can score as you see that bat just right in half.
Kyle Seager called out on strikes his first time. And another tough out. Seager, over his last 22 games coming into this one, was hitting .337. Takes a fastball upstairs. 96 on the gun on that one. Rivera keeps that pitch in front of him. 2-0. Seager stepping back for a moment. Colimay, after giving up the leadoff double to Austin Jackson, taking his time out there now. Blocked.
It seems
3-0.
It seems to be, you know, part slowing the game down, a lot of indecision. I mean, how many meetings on the mound have we had with Rene Rivera and Colimay? At least 3.
Well, they're going to go ahead and walk Seager. They'll have the right-handed hitting Trumbo coming up. So it's an intentional walk. And Mark Trumbo, just acquired from Arizona. Trumbo had a run of years in the American League with the Angels, and last year and part of this year with Arizona. He had a couple 30-plus home run seasons with the Angels. Had hit 9 home runs this year with Arizona. And he takes a big cut. And a little piece of it, fouling it, strike 1.
Well, thank goodness he leaked just a little bit, because that was a breaking ball that stayed up. But because Trumbo, that hip heading down the third base line a little bit early, he just pulled off of that pitch and was only able to foul it off.
And a ground ball chopped to the right side. Forsythe has it. And that takes care of that for Seattle. No score through 4.
Felix Hernandez on the mound for the Mariners. Maybe the best way to get a hit against Hernandez is to think about the opposite field. And the term shooter has become very popular in the Rays clubhouse, led by David Dejesus. Here is David's explanation.
When you see a guy hitting the ball the opposite way, we call shooter, and we getting the guns out, and we're morphing it into something else. Hopefully, we can remember. It's all about remembering it, though. Sometimes you get caught in getting the sign and things. So just remembering that you have to do it. That's the toughest part about it.
Today, when the Rays arrived in the clubhouse, they had a sign saying, "Shooters, no BP on the field, work in the cage." You see the King's Court, guys. There's the King's Court down low, and then there's a high court as well. I'll hang out here a little bit. It is a festive atmosphere out here, especially when Felix gets to 2 strikes. Back to you.
Well, I would expect that Todd Callis would only be in the high court.
The Supreme Court, if you will.
Oh, I will. 1-0 the count to David Dejesus, who lifts a high fly ball toward the court. Still fair and caught by Smith.
How about when Felix Hernandez finishes his warm-ups? And he's out in left field. He finishes his warm-ups, getting ready for a game. They open up the door. As he walks onto the field, they start playing the regal music, and everybody stands as the king enters.
All rise.
All rise. Pretty cool. I just wish the Jester was here. You remember a few years back?
I remember him, yeah.
The crazed Jester.
Yeah. I can't imagine that. I wonder where he is.
He's locked up. I guarantee you he's locked up. But he was fun.
I wonder if we could, when we come out here, have him released into our custody.
Work release.
I'm sure Todd may have already checked out his location. Todd?
Yeah, rumor is that the Jester got married and has a little one now. That's the rumor. So he doesn't have as much free time on his hands.
So he is a Jester Jr.
Jester Jr. I mean, I guess I'm happy for him, but he was fun to have out in the crowd.
You would think, though, if he has a junior, he really needs to work more, build up that college fund. So the Jester, it'd be a good thing for him to be out here.
I agree. Supplement the income. That's a knockoff. He really, that was the thing that was, he played the part. Played the part. He was the Jester. He wasn't playing anybody.
Yep.
He was the Jester.
It's a ball, 2 strikes. Forsythe is out number 2. The 5th strikeout posted by Felix Hernandez. 2 gone. The impressive thing about that exchange is that Todd was right there with the information.
We had the day off. Didn't televise the first game here in Seattle. Last night, Todd was, giddy, happy to be in Seattle, and you could tell he was going to do good work and have good information. Look at him.
Yeah, see, he has that look of accomplishment on his face.
I like the fact that the tie and shirt combo, I would not have put those 2 colors together, and yet he did, and it works.
Well, he's very creative. He thinks outside the box. Pop back at first, and Morrison is there to take care of that. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays. Move into the bottom of the 4th, scoreless. Four-game winning streak into this game tonight at Safeco Field in Seattle. Well, Todd Callis all set to throw on his boots and enjoy the country songs of Lee Brice after the Rays take on the White Sox. That'll be Saturday, June 13th. Lee Brice, the latest featured post-game concert act and one of Nashville's hottest country stars, singing hits such as I Don't Dance. For more information, visit raysbaseball.com/concerts. On to the bottom of the 4th, Seth Smith leads it off in this scoreless game. Rays have left 2, the Mariners have left 5. And the pitch is a strike. Mariners 0 for 5 tonight with men in scoring position. They were 0 for 7 last night, and in the opening game of this series they were 1 of 11 with runners in scoring position. That's been a repeated concern for the Seattle club in recent weeks. A 2-strike count on Smith.
The only team doing a worse job with runners in scoring position on the season is the Cincinnati Reds. They're down below 200, 197 average coming into play today. But the Mariners are closing quickly.
1-2. That remains a mystery. We've talked about the addition of Cruz, and we take last year's club, what it did, put him on this team, and they anticipated a pretty good offense. Now they do play in a park that has over the years tended to be more of a pitcher's park. They've made some adjustments to the dimensions here. It's less so of a pitcher's park. Still skews that way a little bit, but not nearly the way it did for a long time here. Toward the line and left, Dejesus over there making the pickup. Smith's going to dig for 2, and the throw will not be in time.
Well, and David Dejesus had a real good shot at getting Seth Smith, but after the throw, he falls down. Had to run a long way for that ball that Smith kind of deadened out there in left field near the line. He's smelling double right out of the box. And then watch David Dejesus try to make the play right here. He's going to spin and go down, and this throw just a little bit wide.
13th double for Smith. And the hitter is Logan Morrison.
This is just another opportunity for the Rays to continue the Mariner futility with runners in scoring position.
Morrison takes a breaking ball a little low. 1-0. Morrison with a base hit. His first time up to extend his hitting streak. It now stands at 13. One. Morrison has 6 home runs, 14 runs batted in. And Colimay again working out of the stretch. He spent most of his time out of the stretch here tonight with men on base. 1-2. Morrison with the hit his first time up, his average up to 250. A scratch from the first game of this series with back spasms. Now 2-2. Second hitter in the 4th inning. Colimay in the mid-50s in pitch count. Fly ball into left. Dejesus will have to play it on one hop. The throw comes toward third. So Smith advances. A base hit the other way for Morrison. And it's first and third with nobody out.
Well, and you could see David Dejesus trying to make a decision as this ball was floating out towards him. Do I go for it and make a diving attempt, or do I lay off? And he decides last minute to lay off, let that ball fall in, get around it, and then get it in quickly. That was an in-between play off the bat. David Dejesus, who's played a solid left field for the Rays all season long, forced with a tough decision there, played the cautious approach.
Well, he's made great decisions out there all year and decided to play that one on a hop.
If you don't know that you can get there, then don't even attempt it. Don't dive and end up 3 feet short.
Here's Bloomquist. And a base hit punched up the middle. That will get the run home. So after the leadoff double, the Mariners get a run. And you can tell by the reaction here how frustrating it's been in Seattle. The fans give Bloomquist and the Mariners a big hand for putting the first run of the game on the board.
And of course, it's the veteran, the 14-year veteran, Willie Bloomquist, going right back up the middle. Short stroke, doesn't try to do too much. And the Mariners do get on the board.
Here's Zunino. He shows the bunt, takes the pitch upstairs. So the Mariners get their first run in the last 16 innings. And they had gone 0 for 5 tonight with men in scoring position before Morrison's hit. And that did not produce a run. It got Smith to third. And then the following base hit by Bloomquist got him home. It's first and second now with nobody out. Now the Rays trying to shut off anything else with Felix Hernandez on the hill for Seattle tonight. And the pitch is too high. Again, Zunino showing bunt, bringing Franklin charging in from first. Ball 3. So the situation gets more troubling with each pitch.
The frustrating thing is Zunino is trying to give you an out. He's giving himself up, and you're on the verge of walking him. And that's where it gets frustrating.
You see that ball and strike breakout, and not nearly the ratio that you would like. That's a strike. 3-1. Ball 4. And the bases are loaded with nobody out for the top of the order. That's going to bring Jim Hickey out of the dugout, and he heads to the mound.
You know, and Dwayne, the point you just made about where they are in the order is the other frustrating thing. You know, you walk the 9-hole hitter to load the bases. It's been the bottom 4 now that have gotten this going, and now you're turning around. Austin Jackson doubled his last time up, is coming up. You got Cano, Cruz, Seager. You can only keep them quiet for so long.
And it does seem to be a pattern with Colimay. He gets into trouble with either the lower end of the order or on 0-2 pitches or with 2 men out.
And that's where it comes down. You start to wonder about the concentration level, because his stuff that plays so well at the beginning and the top of an order should obviously, just by common sense, play well the bottom part of the order. But you're right, he struggles down there. The most troublesome spot in an opposing lineup for him is the 9-hole. Coming into this game tonight, they hit .462 off him with an on-base percentage of .500 and an OPS of over 1,000.
And then you just turn that right around to the top of the order again, as we see here tonight. And a pitch way high to Austin Jackson. Had to hump up on the fastball and miss by plenty. Foul ball back. It's 1-1. Now, not everybody can be Greg Maddux, but I remember Maddux and his approach in difficult situations. The bigger the situation, the softer he went. Thinking that the hitters are grinding to swing the bat. And he would go soft, softer, and then softer again. 1-1 the count Jackson, the hitter. He pops it up. Foul ball, and Elmore will have a play. One away. Well, that's one out with the bases still loaded.
And he went soft. That was an off-speed delivery, even though he's got a hard slider. And I absolutely agree. You know, I remember just getting an opportunity to pitch in a couple of different playoffs, you know, into the World Series. And I always, the changeup was such a great pitch in the postseason because for the same reason. Yep. Guys are so geared up. The lights are brighter, the stage is bigger, and guys want to make something happen, and they're going to come at you full go, and you just take little off and let them get themselves out.
Robinson Cano twice has grounded out tonight. Once to third, the other time to short.
It goes against, though, what you're feeling. It's the same way that the hitter is geared up, so is the pitcher.
Yep.
And they want to go, you know, you have that tendency to want to go hard, harder, and hardest. That doesn't work out so well usually.
Into the dirt. A nice stop by Rivera. Seattle with a run home in the fourth. They finally converted a run-scoring opportunity. Colimay in big trouble. He's gotten the first out. Second base. Cabrera to first. 4-6-3. Forsythe. Cabrera to Franklin. And the Rays get out of that, allowing just the one run as Robinson Cano grounds into a big double play. We go to the fifth. 1-0 Seattle. Is brought to you by Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Late night with the Rays here at Safeco Field in Seattle. It's a 1-0 ball game. Kind of a relaxing evening here in the great Northwest.
It looks like you're getting ready for a night out with Todd.
if he'll unlock the car door and let anybody in.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It was a back seat full of luggage?
Nothing there.
I didn't think so either.
No, kind of an exclusive ride.
Forced us into a cab.
Yep.
Bootleg move.
Mm-hmm. Cabrera a little Tapper foul. 0-2 the count. Well, here we are. It's a beautiful night in Seattle. Great night for a ball game. And then after the game, get our rest. Another day or so, head home.
Early day tomorrow, and then it's going to be an early arrival Monday morning.
Be nice to get back home, and right now it's been a great trip for the Rays. Winning 6 of the first 8. And facing Felix Hernandez here tonight. Rays are down 1-0.
You know, and it's not just any trip. You know, anytime you come out west, it's difficult. The time change. It doesn't even matter the opponent so much. It's just a tough trip to get acclimated to. It started in Baltimore, oddly enough, then all the way out to L.A., up to Seattle.
Didn't we factor in the other night that it was 3,113 miles to drive from Seattle to Tampa Bay? It would only take something like 45 or 46 hours straight through. That sounds like a trip you could make.
Hey, I do like to drive.
Right straight through, too.
Well, I did one time with a couple of buddies, did the Northeast Ohio out to Phoenix, Arizona, straight through all the way, got out there, got into the house, and immediately was down with the flu and didn't get out of bed for a week.
2-2, skied to center field, sending Jackson back, got carry, but only to the track. Jackson on the warning track, hauls it in. Cabrera hit it a long way. 401 to center field here. And that's out number 1. So does that preclude you from making another trip like that?
There would be a stop.
Yep.
Yeah. It was the worst. You know, they're coming out. It's a little vacation for them. I'm getting ready for spring training to start. And like I said, I got out there. Yay, we made it. And stayed right in bed.
Line drive to short by Elmore. The Rays have hit 2 or 3 of those, especially in the first couple innings, really hard when they tried to put something together. But right at people.
Yeah, I mean, right at people. Yeah, the line drive, 2 of them have been to Bloomquist. One of them, out to Cano, I think it was Nick Franklin, who hit into another double play. You know, this guy, when he threw his shutout against the Rays 2 starts ago, I think he got 4 double plays in that ball game. At least I know he had 4. I don't know if he had more than that, but he had at least 4. Gets another one there. And you're right, he's been good tonight in keeping the Rays off the board, but he hasn't been sharp like we've seen him in the past.
Yeah, and since that hard hit line drive by Franklin that they turned into a double play, Felix Hernandez has retired 9 hitters in a row. And there's a little chop to the right side, and a very quick inning here. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. 2-4.5, 1-0 Seattle. 4.5, our game summary. The Rays facing Felix Hernandez, who's given the Rays just one hit through 5. A couple of walks in the mix, all of that early. And it was a base hit by Willie Bloomquist in the 4th inning, bottom of the 4th. It scored Seth Smith with the only run of the game so far. And we go to the bottom of the 5th with Nelson Cruz to lead off. Well, it was a 21-pitch 4th inning for Colimay, just an 8-pitch 5th inning for Hernandez, and now Colimay's back out here. Goes a curveball taken for a strike as he begins the bottom of the 5th. Just with the fastball.
I think the body language of Rene Rivera, he thought that pitch was a strike. Down and in, he kind of held it there for a minute, threw it back out, said something to John Tumpain.
And there's a strike. Changeup. 1-2. Well, you can take a look at those pitches, and the one that they wanted, I mean, that would be a strike there on Fox track. But it is in a location that Tumpain sometimes does not give pitchers, and that's what we referenced at the outset. He can be an umpire who has a restricted strike zone. Into center field. Kiermaier has to go back, change courses there, and makes the catch. One away. Rays Flex Packs now come with one of 8 great gifts of your choice. Starting at just $59, Rays Flex Packs allow you to choose any 3, 6, or 9 games with no blackout dates. Plus, get half off parking when using the funds loaded to your Rays card. For details, visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. The hitter is Kyle Seager. Want to know? Seager got ahead 3-0 and then was intentionally walked in the 3rd after being called out on strikes his first time. That's a strike. 1-1. Rays at the moment a game back of New York in the East. How about Texas? They're making a move. They've won 3 in a row and 8 of 11, and the Rangers suddenly are just 3.5 games behind Houston in the AL West.
Well, they started to swing the bats a little bit better, playing all around a better game and making a move. I'll tell you, there's been some surprises already. You know, you made the point the other night when the Rays had gotten to 30 wins and said only 2 teams have more than 30 wins. Yep. 31 or more in that range. And who are they?
Yeah, the Astros and the Twins.
Surprising?
I mean, no one would have given you that on day 1 of the season.
Not a chance.
Full count to Seager. So right now the Twins are up by a game in the Central over Kansas City. Houston up by 3.5 over Texas in the West. Rays started the day a half game behind New York. The Yankees won today. Roller to the right side, and that's Forsythe to take care of Seager. So 2 outs with the bases empty, and Monday, don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1 Plus games all weekend long on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and it's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Mark Trumbo out with a fly ball and a ground ball tonight. Ball, no strikes. Colimay right now with 78 pitches, 2 outs into the 5th. Cut and a miss, 1-1. And here's where you'd like to see him with 2 outs really tidy up his game and minimize his pitch count.
Yeah, just finish it. As good as your stuff's been to get those first 2 outs, maintain concentration, a couple more pitches, and then go get a nice, comfortable place on the bench. Hope your offense can get something going. But you're right, the numbers with 2 outs are not pretty.
See at the 80 mark with pitches now. You take care of this final hitter and get 5 innings, 1 run, cut and a miss.
Sensing that these Mariner hitters are trying to do too much. The Rays, for the most part, have stayed away from the big sluggers of the Mariners because they're leaking, they're opening up, they're cheating, middle of the plate, middle in, giving up that outside part.
And a cut and a miss. He gets Trumbo. That pitch, 96 mile per hour fastball away. 1-0 Seattle.
Any more late night with the Rays as we get to know David Dejesus. Of all the Major League players that wear a uniform, this guy has one of the happiest dispositions you'll ever find. Here's Dejesus on his passion for playing the game.
I've always had a love for the game, and now I'm understanding that having fun with my teammates, including them, is even more fun. So, having my guys that just mess around with during the game, just keep light and keep things in perspective. We're playing baseball, but we're in the entertainment business, and I got to entertain myself as well. So, it's fun, and, we take it, we're still in the game, but we like to take it as lighthearted, too.
Always with a smile on his face, David Dejesus, guys.
Well, he gives the Rays a veteran presence on this team. He plays the game like a veteran and a good guy to have on the club for all of those, what I guess we would call intangibles that a guy like that can bring.
And you know what I'll say about David Dejesus? I had gotten traded from the Cleveland Indians to the Kansas City Royals in 2003. And so I was on that Royals team when David Dejesus came up to make his debut in September of 2003. Got to know him, obviously, back then as a teammate. And then watching him, the way he does and goes about his business, he has not changed at all from that point in time to where he is right now.
See Rivera looking at a fastball. That's 11 in a row retired by Felix Hernandez. Well, Rivera wondering, wait a minute. He didn't get a call for his pitcher in the bottom of the fifth, and he gets called out on that pitch. Kiermaier takes it high.
You know, as much as you have an umpire back there that may be tight on pitchers, they're human beings too. And it sometimes it comes down between Colimay, King Felix. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt. And as much as they'll tell you that that's not the case, it is.
Yeah, well, it's like the 3-0 pitch.
Yeah.
That pitch, percentages that it's going to be a strike are way higher than a normal pitch. And it doesn't have to be a perfect pitch to be a strike, 3-0.
Get it close.
It's a bunt foul, 2-1. Ball game in the top of the sixth. The Rays have just one hit, and that was Elmore's single in the second. He'll roll her up the middle. Now 3-1 to Kiermaier. And we'll take a look at this pitch. I think Hernandez wanted that one, and he didn't get it. But again, it's down there on that corner, and it's tough to get a strike there with Tumpain behind the plate. There's a shot toward the gap. Right center. Over the head of Cruz. Kiermaier turns it on. He's on his way to third. And there will be no throw as he goes in head first with his fourth triple of the year. Kiermaier, boy, it's fun to watch him run on a ball in the gap.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite plays. It's the triple with a guy with speed. And boy, he sells out for this pitch and drills it into right center field. And that's exactly what he's thinking. Going to be a long couple of throws, and he is gone.
I mean, look at him motor.
Well, he cuts the angles properly.
That had been 11 in a row retired by Felix Hernandez. And here's Joey Butler. He fouls it right at his feet. Strike one. Infield up in a 1-0 game here.
Well, and you've got Felix Hernandez capable of a strikeout, obviously, but he also has the second highest ground ball fly ball ratio in the American League. So he can get you a ground ball too. You take your chances.
And did he go on the appeal? No, says Doug Eddings. And so the count is 1-1. What do you think? Pretty close right there. Awfully close.
Edge walker.
Cut and miss by Butler. Butler was retired back in the third when Bloomquist made a great play at shortstop.
Well, you got to shorten up here. Shorten up the stroke. Hernandez going for the strikeout, obviously.
Now it's 2-2.
Joey Butler staring out there at Felix Hernandez, trying to think along with him. What am I going to get here?
Into the dirt. Kiermaier will come down the line and score. And this game is tied. A wild pitch, and the Rays get the tying run as Kiermaier comes home.
Third wild pitch of the year for Felix Hernandez. He just chokes off this changeup. Now Kevin Kiermaier making sure that ball gets all the way back to the wall before he took off.
Now there's a high chop down to third. Seager with a long throw, and it's on the money. 2 gone. Well, the Rays have tied it in the 6th inning on the wild pitch. Kiermaier keying this one with his triple. Now the bases are empty with 2 outs for David Dejesus. There's a strike. David walked in the 1st inning. It's a chopper to short. Bloomquist scoops and throws. Rays are out in the 6th inning. They get the tying run home. It's a 1-1 ball game. Back to late night with the Rays from Safeco Field. Need a little offense in the lineup, and here it is.
Really? That's why I ended up pitching. What kind of stance is that? And what about the
what have you been hitting with that bat?
Rocks. Wow, that's awful. Where do they find these things?
People know things about you, apparently.
Yeah, well.
And most of the people are in the truck. That's scary.
Well,
they know.
Right.
We go to the bottom of the 6th. Seth Smith, who's been on twice with a walk and a double, and has scored the run for Seattle. First pitch to him is a strike. So we've got Alex Colimay on the hill for the Rays, Felix Hernandez for the Mariners. One and one. Colimay in the mid-80s in pitch count. The Rays get some action up and going in the bullpen. 0-2. Steve Geltz under the watchful eye of Stan Borowski down there in the bullpen. So Geltz loosening. Popper on the left side. Here comes Dejesus in from left, and just inside the line makes the catch. So the leadoff man is retired, and Logan Morrison, who has 2 hits tonight, is on his way to the plate.
Boy, new life for the Rays. You give Felix Hernandez a lead. You get in the second half of the ball game and you're not feeling real good about yourself. You tie it back up, and now all of a sudden, it's anybody's game. This becomes a sprint here.
Pitch is upstairs.
And even if you just play him even, you just wait him out, get him out of the game.
High. Colimay made 97 pitches against the Angels in his last outing. And in his 3rd outing of the year, he made 99 pitches. That's when he struggled against New York. A 2-0 count on Morrison, who has a new bat. Pitch the count to 2-1. Colimay making his 2nd career appearance against the Seattle Ball Club. His first time he's pitched here at Safeco Field. And now the bunt with the shift on, and that's going to be a base hit. The count was 2-1, and the Rays continued to give him the bunt, and he took it.
And usually, you're right, a lot of times the Rays will have the third baseman or the shortstop, whoever it may be, Longoria, Cabrera, in this case Elmore, play the bunt until 2 strikes, and then you see him back up typically. Not here. They're conceding the whole way, and Morrison takes it. Figuring a 2-1 count, he's going to want to swing the bat.
Colimay off the mound to try to track that one down, so he's back on the hill, and Rivera's taking a little time out there with him. Willie Bloomquist will be the hitter. Bloomquist drove in a run with a single to center his last time up. That was the first run in the last 16 innings scored by the Seattle lineup. And now Bloomquist up here again. 1 on, 1 out. Outside, 1-0. Bloomquist taking a look down toward third. One on with 1 out. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. And the throw is going to get him. Morrison runs into an out at second base with Cabrera putting the tag on him. And boy, if you give Rivera half a chance, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's why the Mariners trying to put on a hit and run there. You know, trust Willie Bloomquist to put the ball in play. Logan Morrison not going to straight out steal here on Rivera. He can't reach it, and that's not even close. Rene Rivera is so quick in and out of the glove.
And there's a situation where, because they have had such trouble scoring runs, and we talked about the Rays being aggressive with Hernandez on the mound, and Seattle trying to make something happen here by starting Morrison with Bloomquist, and Bloomquist reaching, trying to protect the runner, and could not make any contact. Popped up short right. It's Souza, and that will take care of Seattle in the 6th. On to the 7th, a 1-1 tie. Logan Forsythe sets up to lead off the 7th, and in the game tonight all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Logan last night connected to lead off the 9th and give the Rays the only run they would need, as it turns out. Logan, his 7th home run of the year. That's a career high for him.
How about the note that we saw that was the 10th time this year that an opposing reliever has come into the ball game and given up a home run to the first Ray that he has faced.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
Forsythe takes the first pitch this time, and it's a strike. Logan hit the ball hard his first time up when he shot a line drive to short, and Bloomquist, with men at first and third, made a leaping catch on the hard hit line drive. It was the second out in the first as Hernandez got out of that spot. He got out of the first and had a stretch of 11 in a row retired before Kiermaier tripled in the 6th and was wild pitched home.
Yeah, and in between innings, Felix Hernandez not at all happy.
No, I think he felt as if he'd retired Joey Butler at least twice. And then he uncorked the wild pitch. Ground ball to short. Bloomquist whips it to first, and it's picked out by Morrison.
It was almost like he threw a sidearm changeup. Willie Bloomquist just kind of babied that throw over there. Seemingly would never get there, and you force Logan Morrison to have to make a scoop. Should have been routine. It just kind of, that just was a baby throw.
Not happy with himself, but very happy with Morrison. Steven Souza Jr. fouls it, strike one. Rays and the Mariners tied at 1. Souza with 11 home runs. One strike. That's a strike. Foul ball. 1-2. Close. 2-2. Now the Rays averaging 3.8 runs. The Mets also are averaging 3.8. They're the only two teams in the majors averaging fewer than 4 runs a game and have a winning record. Fly ball lifted into center. Austin Jackson waits and makes the catch. So 2 gone. Hey fans, it's time to vote for your Rays All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at RaysBaseball.com. Voting exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote early and vote often. Help select the starting lineups for the 2015 All-Star Game. Vote at RaysBaseball.com. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. The pitch is fouled. Strike one. A run, 2 hits for the Rays tonight. They've drawn a couple walks. A run, 7 hits for the Mariners, and they've drawn 3 bases on balls. The Rays involved in another low-scoring game. Two and one. Four-game winning streak. 6-2 on the trip. Chopper foul. And for the life of this little winning streak the Rays have had, they've hit a robust 206. But they have pitched to a team ERA of 1.70. It's going to be a foul ball.
I guess that's how you win games, by run prevention.
That's it.
You're not going to score, but guess what? We'll just make sure that they score even fewer runs than we do.
Well, the Rays in 2 games here. Coming into this one, it scored 3 and won both games. Okay.
That's not easy to do. I mean, are you kidding me? No margin for error.
Foul out of play. And they're really getting to the point where you've got to go back in history. For an example, these 2 wins here in Seattle and the last 2 wins they had here at Safeco were by scores of 2-1, 2-0, then 2-1 and 1-0. So 4 straight wins here and just not scoring many runs at all in a visiting ballpark. And apparently, if you go back to 1913, the Phillies beat the Brooklyn Superbas in the first 4 games at Ebbets Field with low scores, very similar to those. Now it's 3-2. The Phillies beat Brooklyn 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and 2-1.
The Brooklyn who?
Superbas.
It's made up.
Superbas. When Ebbets Field first opened.
Well, but you know what? You can understand those games being low scoring like that. Play with rolled up socks.
Foul ball out of play. Yeah, that was a special era.
The Superba era.
They were not yet dodging all of those trolleys in Brooklyn, apparently. And they
Can you
came
imagine?
to be known as the Trolley Dodgers and the Dodgers.
I just want names. I want names of players. You know what I mean? Four-Finger Johnson and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's another foul ball by Cabrera. And this has turned into a 10-pitch at bat for Cabrera.
Jimmy Clubfoot Dunham. You know, those are the kind of...
Those are your favorite players. I'm glad you've been researching the history of the game in that era. Well, there's the King's Court getting restless. And ball 4. Boy, what an at-bat for Cabrera. I mean, that's how hard you have to work to get a walk from this guy. A 2-out walk.
Boy, and
11 pitches.
And that's it. You tack on that many pitches. Now he's up over 100. And doesn't even record the out. So you're pushing him closer and closer to being out of this game.
Here's Jake Elmore. Jake had a base hit in the first, then lined to short his last time. It's a strike. That pitch in at 88 looked like a curveball coming out of his hand. Might have been the change. Up around 88. That changeup can be 90 sometimes.
Yep.
And now a runner's going to move up to second. A wild pitch. It's 1-1.
Another pitch that was yanked. Zunino not able to come up with it clean. I'll tell you what, Cabrera with good anticipation. The Rays are looking any way they can to try to make something happen. A ball in the dirt gives them a chance.
Line drive into center, but it's going to hang up and catch. The catch made by Jackson. Rays leave a man. We go to the bottom of the 7th tied.
tied at 1 between the Rays and the Mariners. Back in the Astrodome days, we enjoy more late night with the Rays. As David Dejesus has been our feature tonight. Dejesus was caught eating ice cream in the dugout back on May 2nd when the Rays played the Yankees in an extra inning game. Here's why.
So it was in the 14th inning, and we needed to win. So it was like, sometimes you got to bring out your big guns. And I had to bring out the ice cream. And next thing you know, we pulled, I think it was a chocolate eclair. I'm a big toasted almond guy, but chocolate eclair was the choice. That's all they had. And we were able to pull it out in the top of the 14th. So I tried it one other time. I think, oh wait, no. This year we were at Yankee Stadium. It was the 13th. Loney ended up getting the base hit to win the game. But if it went to the 14th, I was ready to bring it on back out.
Guys, back to you.
Well, here we go on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Steve Geltz in the game. The first pitch he throws is a strike to Zunino. It's upstairs. It's 1-1.
I'll tell you what, it was not pretty from Alex Colimay, but effective. You know, you go 6 innings in the big leagues to give up 1 run. You've done a great job.
This one off the end of the bat foul, 1-2. Well, 6 innings, 7 hits, a run, a couple strikeouts, 3 walks, an intentional pass. With 94 pitches on the night for Colimay. And there is strike 3. Zunino caught looking. So 1 up and 1 down against Geltz. That's the line on Colimay. The more you see him, and it's easy to see the ability and the arm that's there and the talent. And you see little areas where he wanders off and then comes back. But boy, you can see that underlying talent that's there. And if he continues to pitch and refines that and puts it together, there's a lot to like about what he takes to the mound with him.
It's just maturing. The stuff is very good. You know, the fastball tonight was explosive early on. You know, we saw that up to 97 miles an hour. You know, a good slider when he stays on top of it and behind it, instead of getting out in front with it where it'll hang a little bit. And then a changeup. It's just that the mental aspect. And you talked about the bottom of the order and with 2 outs where he struggles. You're just continuing to get better in your weak points.
Cutting them as the count is now 1-2.
But you're right, overall, the tools are there. And we've seen him very good. And tonight, we've seen him better than he was tonight. But you can't argue with the results.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And the Seattle bullpen busy. The right-hander Mark Lowe up. Out of play. Full count now to Jackson. Austin Jackson doubled in the 3rd. He's the Mariner who hit the triple to open the bottom of the 9th last night and was left there. Now long one to left. That one is going to go. Jackson, it's his 3rd home run of the year. And that will make it 2-1.
There was no question about it. That ball leaked back out over the heart of the plate, and Austin Jackson just utterly destroys it.
Well, that's going to give Seattle the lead. We'll see Felix Hernandez giving his seal of approval in the dugout. And it's now 2-1 Seattle. At the short. And the throw to first by Cabrera. And Cano is 0 for 4. Second out here in the 7th. Nelson Cruz. Swinging and missing for a strike. Wide there. It's now 1-1. Rider into left. Will fall in front of Dejesus. Cruz has hit number 2 on the night. That's Kyle Seager to the plate. Seager's 0 for 2. He was intentionally walked. And it's popped short left. A lot of hang time. Dejesus is there. And he makes the catch. The home run by Austin Jackson breaks a 1-1 tie. We're at the end of 7, and it's 2-1 Seattle. The game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. It's 2-1. Felix Hernandez working the first 7 innings for Seattle, giving up a run on 2 hits. Alex Colimay a run on 7 hits in 6 innings for the Rays. And then the home run by Austin Jackson off Steve Geltz in the 7th. So we'll go to the 8th. A new pitcher, Mark Lowe, out there making his 15th appearance for Seattle. Nick Franklin, the first man to face him, and he hits a high fly ball into right. Cruz to his left a few feet, 1 away. Now Rene Rivera prepares to step in against Lowe. So the home run by Jackson makes Felix Hernandez the pitcher of record, along with Steve Geltz right now. Cutting the miss for a strike.
And now you got to deal with the back end of this Mariner bullpen, and Mark Lowe, a big part of it. This was a bullpen that led Major League Baseball last year in earned run average, a shutdown pen if there ever was one.
Broken bat roller to short. Lundqvist's throw is in time. 2 gone. Reminder, here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show, presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealer. Chris Archer's after his 7th win tomorrow, and we'll hear from him, and we'll take a look back at the road trip tomorrow. Game number 10 of this swing from Baltimore to Anaheim to Seattle. We'll be with you at 3:30 tomorrow. Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier keyed the run for the Rays with a 1-out triple in the 6th and scored on a wild pitch. Two and 0.
Well, with Mark Lowe, it's going to be fastball or slider. Take your pick. But El Nuno warming up.
Yeah, he came over in that Trumbo deal. Inside. Now the count is 3-0. Well, Furbush, the lefty, and the right-hander is Smith, Carson Smith, who's been setting up. 3-1.
Both of those relievers have been nasty for the Mariners. You want to get Kiermaier on base, although he may ambush here. 3-1. Cut it loose.
He does, and lines it into center field. Going to drop in front of Jackson. Bounces away from him. A big turn, but he recovers, and they will hold Kiermaier to a single. Kevin Kiermaier on for the 3rd time tonight, picking up a 2-out single on the hard liner into center.
3-1. You put yourself in a good position. A ball out over the plate. Good swing. Nice shot back up the middle. Boy, there for a second, Austin Jackson looked like he was going to come in and try to catch that ball. Instead, he pulls up and able to squeeze through the 5-hole and recovered quickly enough to keep Kiermaier at first. But for how long?
Joey Butler at the plate, and a toss over there by Lowe.
Opposing base stealers this year, 1 out of 2 against Mark Lowe.
And a strike to Butler. Butler entered the game with a 7-game hitting streak. Thrown out back in the third on a good play by the shortstop Lundqvist. There goes Kiermaier, and the pitch is fouled back. So Kiermaier going in head first out there at second.
He never got the memo. He really didn't know until right now that ball was fouled off. I mean, he just continued right into second base aggressively. Well, you see, he never peeked back in. A lot of times you see those base stealers, peek back in, and he's wondering what happened. Oh,
wait.
All that
I thought
nothing.
I stole it without a play. Pitch out, nothing doing that time. Rays trailed 2-1. We're in the 8th. Kiermaier goes, swing and a miss. Butler missed the slider. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. 2-1 Seattle.
We learn about David Dejesus and how he gears up for a game, guys. It's all about the look, and for Dejesus, it's all about having the wet hair.
Like right before the game, when I do my little, LeBron does his powder thing, I do my hair flip.
Right.
That's when it's at its best.
So what do you just get a full cup of water?
Yeah, I take a couple cups. Well, one can't do it,
Okay.
so I have to do 2 or 3 now because I want to make sure the back's wet as well. Do you want me to go do it? And I'll give it one, just kind of let it work it. The one's like just the working phase. And the second cup is just to try and get all the ends underneath and down and around. And then
It's a pretty serious science.
And then
One more.
So I go one more just to kind of get my face to wake up a little bit before the game and just finish it. And then you just flip it like that. And then that's the show here.
We thank David Dejesus for giving us a little insight as to how he prepares for a game. Guys, wet hair can be refreshing. Back to you.
We've heard that and seen that demonstrated by our own crew members.
I got 2 things. Number 1, I'm jealous. And number 2, I want to see how Todd gets his show hair. His late night, it's 1:45, here I am show hair.
We've had late night with the Rays on the West Coast. He has it on the East Coast, too. Foul ball out of play by Mark Trumbo, and the count is 0-2. But so far, that's been, a secret as to how he prepares. We saw David Dejesus right here.
Yep.
Very forthcoming. Todd a little closer to the vest.
All we see with Todd is the finished product.
Swing and a foul tip right back into the mid of Rivera, so Trumbo's out on strikes. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Now Seth Smith, who has a walk and a double and a fly ball to left tonight. Well, the Rays in the 9th inning have DeJesus, Forsythe, and Souza due up. It's a 1-run game right now, and Gelt's trying to keep it that way. First pitch, a strike. Gelt's on in relief of Alex Colimay. Gelt's gave up the home run to Austin Jackson in the 7th inning. Only the second home run he's given up this year. The first since the 25th of April when Russell Martin got him for a long one. Near miss there. It's 1-2. Well, they have the right-hander Carson Smith continuing to stay warm in the bullpen. 2-2. Full up. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Gelt's last work Wednesday in the series against the Angels. And the Rays won that game 6-5, and he picked up the save. And he just walked Smith. So a runner at first with 1 out coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. We'll anchor it here from Seattle. We'll have the Kevin Cash managers press conference, and Todd Callis will provide us interviews from the clubhouse. And immediately following the conclusion of our coverage, our game coverage, Smith's going to be lifted for a pinch runner. Dustin Ackley will run. Smith out of the game for Ackley. And the hitter is Logan Morrison. He has 3 hits in this game. Takes ball 1, including a bunt his last time up.
A little bit defensive. Different setup here. Got Jake Elmore right down there at third. Going to try to take that away if he were to try to go for it again.
Two and 0.
Jim Hickey coming out here after Steve Geltz lost Seth Smith, and then 2-0 here right away, trying to come out here and get him back in the zone.
Rays trying to keep this a 1-run game with the middle part of the order due up in the 9th. Yesterday, everybody in the AL East won. And today, the Yankees have Toronto and Boston. So Evan Longoria alongside Kevin Cash. Evan not in the lineup with a little tweak in his left wrist. There's ball 3 to Morrison. 3-0. That's a strike. Morrison thought he had drawn the walk, and Tom Payne calls that one a strike. Let's take a look. Well, that's that 3-0 pitch we were talking about.
Yeah,
a little leeway.
It really is, because everything else was down there. Those were all balls, and then all of a sudden, magically, that's a strike.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. Throw down, and it's on the money. Ackley is caught trying to steal, with Cabrera putting the tag on him. And another base runner gunned down by Rene Rivera.
You know, we talked at the beginning of this series the fact that the Mariners were basically a 50-50 team in stolen bases. They are not very proficient at that at all, and Rene Rivera is just continuing that trend. This was too easy. Look at him, he almost takes his time. He'll just get out, make a strong throw in plenty of time to get Ackley.
Pitch is skied to the left side, shallow left. That takes care of Seattle. No runs and nobody left. We go to the ninth. Dejesus will lead it off. Rays down by a run. With the Rays at Safeco Field, the Rays need a run to keep it going, down 2-1 after winning the first two games here by scores of 2-1 and 1-0. And Carson Smith, who does not have a major league save at 40 in the minor leagues, is on for the 26th time. He'd been the setup man, asked to come on here in the ninth tonight. And Fernando Rodney remains in that bullpen. It has been a struggle for Rodney. He gave up the home run last night to Forsythe. That turned out to be the difference in the game. And so they go to Carson Smith, who pitched in the eighth last night. Dustin Ackley stays on after he was a pinch runner and thrown out trying to steal. He stays on to play left.
To the lefties, it's going to be fastball, slider, changeup, fastball, slider to the righties, and he is nasty.
David Dejesus opens and takes a strike. Felix Hernandez for 7, Mark Lowe for 1, and now it's Carson Smith. One and one. Ground ball chopped to the left side. Bloomquist with the throw to first in time. Dejesus is the first out in the ninth.
Carson Smith so good at getting the ground ball. You can see the late movement on his pitches. That's what he's designed to do. Strikeouts and ground balls. Well, you just hope for one mistake up in the zone where you can, pop one pretty good. Extra base hit.
Well, Logan Forsythe drove one out of here last night in the ninth, and he takes a strike.
And he's got a real deceptive arm angle, too. That's the thing. Probably difficult for these hitters to pick up. It's not a true out there 3/4 arm angle. Kind of flings the ball in there.
1 ball, 1 strike. Back over the screen. Takes it to 1-2. Their third look at Smith here, and there is strike 3 call on the outside corner.
Sinker, 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 and then here comes the breaking ball, and it just locked up Logan Forsythe.
Well, Steven Susie Jr., the last hope for the Rays tonight. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Souza's nothing out of 3. That's a strike, and Souza thought it was up. 0-2. Did catch a part of the zone. There's a fly ball into left. Ackley comes in, and this one is over. And for Seattle, a 7-game losing streak comes to an end. The Rays 3 up and 3 down in the ninth as Seattle wins this one 2-1. Back with the totals in a moment.